ये कौन आ गया?
Hello. Hello, buddy.
Hello.
So, who wants to hear a story? All of you?
Me also.
So, okay.
Rui, sit there.
So, let's get started, okay? So, once upon a time, there was this village, okay? So, near that village, there was this garden. What was there? Who will tell me?
Garden.
A garden. So, in the edge of this garden, there was a big castle. You know, giant castle. Which was quite spooky, okay? So, in the village, there were many kids like you. Okay, so when they came back home after school, they would go to this garden and play there. They loved to play there and they stayed there till evening. Okay, who likes to play here? All of you, right? Yes. So, when the children, played in the garden, they had a lot of fun. And the villagers in the village, they were discussing one day about who lived in that big castle in the end of the garden. And they said that there was this giant who lived there, who used to live there in the castle. But now he had gone somewhere and had not come back for after years. Okay, it had been years since he had lived in the castle. And the castle was now vacant. Okay, so who knows the meaning of vacant over here? Vacant means like empty, some place which is empty. Understood? So, one day the earth started shaking, okay? And there were these loud thumping sounds. And then there were these two trees, okay, who were talking amongst themselves. And one of them said, "Oh no, look, it's the giant." But then the other tree said, "Why did the giant come back after so many years? It can't be." But it actually turned out that the giant was back. Now, in the garden the kids were playing, right? So, the giant came in and saw the kids were playing there. And said, "Why are you kids playing here? This is my garden. Now go away." Now, the kids got scared and ran away from it. After that, the giant built a wall around the castle and the garden, so no one could enter. And after that, summers came and went, and at last came the winter. After a long time, okay, the winter came, and still nobody had entered the garden except the giant. No one was there. So all the trees and the flowers were sad. The flowers went back into the ground and the trees had shed all their leaves. So when winter came, the snow and the frost had covered the whole village and the garden. Now, after the winter, the spring started to arrive. But in the garden, as there was so much sadness because the kids never came there, the winter never went from there. And the only things happy there was snow and frost. And then the snow said, "I will cover every tree in this garden and make everything look white." And after that, when you would enter there, anyone would enter there, all you could see was white. Now, then the frost said that, "Why don't we invite the cold north wind over here? You see that same cold wind which is outside there, why don't we just invite it here so they could have some fun with them?" And then the north wind came whooshing in and made the chimney of the castle fly into the air. And the parts of the castle, they shook, right? So, after that, the north wind got an idea. Why don't we just invite hail over here? So, after that, hail came down. With rain and hail, ice kind of, you have seen, right? Yeah. Hail. So, after that, the north wind, the ice, the frost, and the snow got together and caused havoc there. Now, who knows the meaning of havoc? Anyone? So, havoc means like, trouble. Okay? Causing havoc means causing trouble. Got it? Okay. So, after that, one day while the giant was sleeping, he heard a beautiful melody. He thought that the musicians of the king were coming by and went to look out of the window. But then he saw a bird singing there, singing new melodies and tunes. And then he thought, had spring finally come? Who likes spring here? With all the flowers to pick and the smell of the flowers. So, after that, he looked out the other window and he saw the most beautiful sight he could ever see. The children had found a hole in the wall and had come into play. And the snow and the ice were just melting away. And then the grass was blooming again and there was greenery there. And then the giant understood that he had done something very wrong and then thought he should fix it. And then he went out of the castle and broke the wall down again. Okay? Just with his fist, he broke the wall down. So, after that, he said to the children, from now on, this garden is yours to play. And after that, the giant would come every day and play with the children. And after years and years, the giant got older and older. After that, the giant would only look out of the window and had no stamina to play with the children because he was now growing old. Okay? So, one day he saw one kid outside crying and went out to see what had happened. He asked the children, child, what has happened to you, my son? And the giant saw that his arm was bleeding and was soaked with blood, So, the giant said, the giant got very angry when he saw that someone had hurt the child and asked, who has hurt you? I will punish whoever has hurt you. Just take me to them. After that, the child calmed the giant down and said, calm down, my friend. These are just wounds of love. And said to the giant to follow him to the garden of paradise over there, okay? So, after that, the kid and the giant went over there. Now, after a while, the other kids who were playing there found out that the giant and that one child was nowhere to be seen and followed him to that paradise and saw the giant was, lying on the ground with a big smile on his face and flowers all over his body. Okay, so he had died, in the paradise of flowers, in the place, and he had died with a big smile on his face. So now, who will tell me what was, the giant before he had built the wall there? What had he done that was wrong? Who will tell me? The giant had been selfish. and thus thought that the garden was only his, and then found out that he was wrong. Okay? So now, I have another question. What were the two new words you learned in this story?
Who will tell?
Who will tell?
Two new words learned. Raise your hands.
I told you the word and the meaning, right? Remember? Who will tell?
Think.
Okay, just one word. Any one word? Think. Okay, we will come to that later. For now, who will tell me what is the moral of the story? What do you think should be the moral of the story?
What did you learn from this story?
Who will tell me?
Pin drop silence. Nothing learned.
No? So the moral is you shouldn't be selfish. You shouldn't think of something of your own. Especially the garden over there, in the story, was built by nature. Did the giant plant the trees in the garden? No, he didn't. It came by nature. And everyone deserves it. Okay, now, at least one word you learned from this story. I want to hear it. Who will tell me? Try to remember.